Hi everyone, and welcome back to English 2. Today we'll be starting our next element of fiction, which is setting. Setting, as we've discussed briefly already, is the time and place a story is set. Keep in mind that the when of the story as well as the where of the story is part of the setting. So it's not just the place, it is also the time. What does it mean to look at the time and place a story is set, however? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. So let's start off by talking about place. When you look at the spatial setting of a story, how is it described? Is it a specific place or a more general place? So, for example, is it a generic college town or is it specifically set in Lawrence, Kansas? Those will have very different effects on the reader. Is the place important to the story? Could it only happen here? Think about Harry Potter. A lot of the things that happen in that story, a lot of the things that are important to that story, could only happen in the wizarding world. If you change that setting, the story would not work. When you look at the location of the story, does it actually exist as a place in real life, or is it an imagined place? And if it is an imagined place, what real life places does it seem to be patterned after? Or what seem to be the inspirations for this fictional place? How do place or region specific things play into the story? So, for example, if your story, kind of skipping ahead, is set in the 1840s, even if it's the same time, a story is going to be very different for a black narrator in the 1840s New York as opposed to 1840s Alabama, just because of the differing treatment that black people were facing in those different locations. Looking at time, we look at a lot of the same things that we look at with place. How is the era described? Is it set in the past, the present, or some imagined future? Is the era in which the story is set important to the story? That is, could it only take place at this time? How does the specific time of the story, i.e. the actual timeline of events in the story, relate to the larger time of the story? So, the era in which the story is set. Is the time in which the story is set a real time, that is historical, or is it an imagined time, some sort of science fiction future? This is a pretty short video because setting is one of the less complicated elements of fiction. It's very easy to define, the place and time a story is set, and it really is just looking at that place, that time, and how they affect the story. That's pretty much it. So I'll see you in the next video for Point of View.